Before we commence the regular meeting of council for this evening, we have a public hearing on the 2027 city tax budget. At this point, I will turn the program over to Finance Director Scott. Mr. Scott?
Thank you, Council President. Welcome to the public hearing of the proposed 2027 tax budget. State law requires that all cities in Ohio adopt a tax budget for the following year no later than July 15th and submit the adopted budget to the Budget Commission no later than July 20th. Council will be reading Resolution 2026-10 for the second time at tonight's regular council meeting and hopefully approving it at the June 25th regular council meeting after being read a third time. The primary purpose of the tax budget is to demonstrate to the County Budget Commission the city's need for property tax revenues. Property taxes account for over 10% of the city's 2026 general fund revenue budget and 6% of the total 2026 revenue budget. The tax budget is prepared in compliance with the old format prescribed by the Lake County Auditor. The final tax budget will be in the new format, as I mentioned in the earlier meeting, that was recently provided in Resolution 2026-10 will be updated before final passage. We were also informed that the city will be required to present the budget to the Budget Commission in person later this summer. The proposed tax budget was based on the current 2026 budget before any adjustments. Please keep in mind that these are estimates only and the actual results can vary greatly. The tax budget anticipates no changes to the current property tax rates and anticipates a total of 7.3 mils. This public hearing is required by state law before the tax budget can be adopted. 2 copies of the tax budget have been available for public inspection at City Hall. Notice of this meeting was advertised in the Lake County News Herald 10 days prior to the meeting, and the tax budget has been available on the city's website since late May. With that, I am open for questions.
Mr. President?
Councilmember Miscavige.
Sort of related to it, but what, how are tax revenue collections this year as compared to last year?
Council President?
Mr. Scott.
The property tax revenues are pretty much, they're flat so far. We haven't received everything. We haven't seen the rollback yet. I'm not sure why. I'm expecting this to go down because of passage of the that piggyback exemption that was approved by Lake County commissioners. But otherwise, again, we've budgeted, I think it was about a 10 or 15% drop.
What about income tax revenues?
Income tax revenue is also down compared to last year. I can't remember the number off the top of my head. I think we're slightly ahead of where I'm projecting budget-wise we're going to be, but we're definitely going to be down from last year.
Does that still have a lot to do with people working in office and not at home?
It's hard to get a good answer from Rita. It's funny, I was at the Regional Council of Government meeting there, Rita, this afternoon, and talking with our representative. A lot of it is large income earners in the city, residents. They tend to file and pay estimated taxes on future years. So it's somewhat cyclical. Same thing with net profit taxes. Businesses will file and then do the estimates for the next year, and then you see a reduction that next year because they've overestimated. So it's kind of a trough and valley thing.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments on the budget? All right, we'll open it up then for the public. If anyone in the public has any questions or comments on the budget. All right, hearing none, then we will close the public hearing of the 2027 city tax budget at 7:05 p.m. We'll move then into the regular meeting of council for June 11th, 2026 at 7:05 p.m. If you have any electronic devices, if you would please turn them off or put them on silent mode. And if everyone would please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, Council Clerk, would you please take the roll call?
Councilman Connect,
Present.
Councilwoman Miller,
Present.
Councilwoman Sebo,
Present.
Council Vice President Taylor Draper,
Present.
Councilwoman Bellich,
Present.
Councilman Jarmuscavage,
Present.
Council President Klein.
Present. We also have with us this evening Mayor Hallam, City Engineer DeFranco, Finance Director Scott, and Law Director Kenny. First item we have is council correspondence. If anyone has any questions, comments about anything listed herein. All right. Then we'll move into our first public portion. This is an opportunity for the public to address council concerning anything pertaining to tonight's agenda. I will open this portion of public portion at 7:06 p.m.
Jen Barrow, 2890 Som. I just wanted to comment again on the SWAT vehicle. I do not believe that the acquisition of a SWAT vehicle represents a judicious investment for our municipality. This appears to be an exorbitant and extravagant expenditure. Alternatively, if our objective is to enhance our educational institutions, we should consider implementing improved surveillance systems within schools with direct feeds to the police department. Furthermore, we could explore the integration of fog and security lockdown protocols within school systems to bolster safety measures. This is what the school camera money is intended to be used for. At almost $400,000 for the current SWAT vehicle, it is wasteful spending. No other city has one, and we certainly do not need it either. In the case of needing one, the Sheriff's Departments, Geauga and Lake, both have one and would be happy to assist. Thank you.
Anyone else for public portion this evening? All right, I will close this first public portion at 7:08 p.m. And I will ask if anyone on the dais would like to respond to anything said in public portion.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Mayor.
I just want to say that while you're certainly entitled to your opinion, and that's fine, at the end of the day, we don't know when we might need something like this. Other cities do, in fact, have other vehicles that are shared amongst the communities, large vehicles like this one. And she's right, the Sheriff's Department does have one. And Geauga does as well. However, in an incident that might occur requiring a vehicle like this, you may not have an hour and a half to 2 hours to wait for that vehicle to show up to save lives. So, in a perfect world, we would, but that doesn't, that's just not the way things work. Thank you.
Council President,
Councilwoman Bellish.
and if you spoke this before, I'm sorry. The schools that are currently here in Willoughby Hills, were they consulted on this? In other words, did we go to all of those schools, whether they're closing or they're not closing, when this idea came about to say, here, these funds need to be utilized? What ideas do you have, or what needs might you have within your school that we could help to supplement?
Thank you for asking that question. In fact, as I recall, all of the schools actually gave letters of recommendation for the support of this vehicle, in support of this vehicle.
So then, just to be clear, for example, nobody came back and said, we would want more surveillance opportunities, or we would like to install something at front doors, for example, to help to fortify what's there and prohibit people from being able to come in. Nothing like that came out.
Not to my knowledge, no.
Changes to windows or inside doors for classroom, the actual classroom doors needing to be fortified.
Yeah, I don't, and I don't think that this money is allowed to be spent in that way. So we can't just give them money to go spend for stuff for their buildings. It has to be done, and Director Scott, do you remember, there's some very specific language as to how, if you don't, that's okay.
Council President,
Mr. Scott.
I don't know the specific language, but I do know that the city is not allowed to be spending money on we can't go out and buy things for private properties or things that the city does not own. So this vehicle would allow us to utilize those funds in what the police chief thinks is the best manner.
And then just one last question. So going back to resource officers and having the ability to, I guess, pay to have them within the schools, we don't really know in the future what our income is going to look like. The generation of the funding that's coming, the funds that are coming from those cameras and those tickets. So there's a big windfall of money that we're looking at right now, but in the future, we don't necessarily know what's going to be there in order to supplement and help to substantiate paying additional resource officers to be in those schools. Is that fair to say,
President?
to ask?
Mr. Mayor,
That is fair to say, however, the city does not pay for the SROs now.
Right.
The schools do.
Right, okay, thank you.
Council President,
Council Vice
so
President.
just a question for clarification. So the school wouldn't be able to say, hey, we need better security doors. Could we use the funds for that? So
No.
they couldn't have said that.
No, we cannot. We can't expend city funds on private property.
But this is supposed to be for school safety.
It's for programs
Programs.
that we put in place to make for school safety. Programs and equipment for school safety.
Okay. Thank you, Council President.
All right, if there's no other comments, we'll move on then to reports. First up is the mayor's report. Mayor Hallam?
Good evening. Residents are invited to attend a special celebration marking the restoration of the Chardon Road Cemetery on Monday, June 15th at 3 p.m. at 29017 Chardon Road. That's just east of the old local tavern. This event will honor those laid to rest in the cemetery while recognizing the dedication and efforts of those who made this important restoration possible. I would like to extend my sincere thanks to Linda O'Brien for her vision and dedication in leading the restoration of the Chardon Road Cemetery. What began as one person's mission quickly grew into a true community effort. Thank you to Linda and the Men of Honor Foundation for their tireless fundraising efforts, and to Stonehugger Cemetery Restoration for their professional expertise in preserving and resetting the historic markers. I would also like to recognize Shannon Fence for their generous donation and installation of the beautiful fence, as well as Road Superintendent Grubus and his crew for their work maintaining and preparing the grounds throughout the process. It is truly wonderful to see so many come together to restore this sacred resting place for our Revolutionary War and Civil War veterans. To learn more about the journey of this project, you can view the Channel 5 video clip that aired a couple weeks ago. You will also find progress photos included in the newsletter. The finished result is absolutely beautiful. Also on Monday, we will be hosting a small ceremony to unveil the newly installed mural at Campbell Park. This beautiful piece was generously designed, painted, and donated by students and staff at the School of Innovation. The ceremony will take place at the pavilion in Campbell Park, nearest to City Hall, at 4:30 p.m. We hope you will join us in recognizing this creative and meaningful addition to one of our community's most enjoyed spaces. Other events happening next week include our Meet the Artist Night on June 16th from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Community Center. This event will allow you to speak with the artists who have their creations featured in the new collaboration with Stella's Art Gallery. On Thursday, June 18th, all seniors, members and non-members, are invited to the senior room for an ice cream social from 2 to 5 p.m. to learn about our new programs and activities being offered. Both events are free of charge. That ends my report, and I stand open for questions.
Hearing no questions, we'll move on. Next up is the Law Director's report. Mr. Kenny?
Thank you, Council President Klein. There is no report from the Law Department today, but I am open for questions.
All right. Next up is Finance Director's report. Mr. Scott?
Thank you, Council President. Financial statements for May are delayed because I was out of town last week. I'm working to try to get caught up as quickly as I can, and I hope to have those out by early next week at the latest. I'd like to start this little segment, or my time each week, to provide some good news about the budget and city finances. This week, I'm happy to report that, speaking of RETA and income taxes, we received our annual refund of collection fees from RETA. We had budgeted $95,000 in this year's budget, and the actual reimbursement came in at almost $140,000. So we had a nice little bump in revenue there. Other than that, I am open for questions.
All right, we'll move on then to city engineers report. Mr. DeFranco.
Thank you, Mr. President. Earlier this week, or it might have been last week, architects in our office submitted a schematic design package for the service garage. Our estimators are currently working on a cost estimate. The schematic design for the police station upgrades should be done in a couple weeks, and then we'll work on a cost estimate for that, and then provide an update to council shortly. Thank you.
Mr. President,
Councilman Jarmuscavich.
how are the River Road repaving? I noticed they had closed the one lane down, but I've seen people come the other way. Is there a way of stopping them from going the wrong way? That kind of shocked me when I seen a car coming down the ground pavement side. Is there?
Yeah.
They
The
could do
police
that?
are over there. They've ticketed a few people for going the wrong way. But, I mean, there's one-way signs at the end of every driveway, at the end of every street. The thing's blocked. People are going around the cones, around the blockades to go the wrong way so that they can save themselves a few minutes of time and put themselves and others at risk. It's really sad to see people taking such a risk to save themselves 10 minutes, perhaps.
It
So,
seems like it's going a little quicker on this half than the first half.
thanks for jinxing it. Appreciate that.
All right, if there's no other comments, we'll move on then to boards, commissions, and committee reports. Do we have any this evening?
Council President,
Council Vice President.
I'd like to report on Planning and Zoning Commission and Architectural Board of Review. Last Thursday, June 4th, the group had a public hearing in regards to the classic redesign and construction of the detailed place that they'd like to build across the street. I just would like to say that I really appreciate the residents who came out, the residents who emailed and called and texted and communicated with members of council, including Councilwoman Miller, myself, and all of council. I really respect your opinions and your emotion when it comes to things that you feel that are going to put your home and your family at risk or mess with your tranquility and your peace. I respect that. I only ask that going forward that you listen to all of it. I don't think a lot of it has been explained. I don't think a lot of it, you've heard all of the parts that are a part of the whole design. And as far as the master plan, there were several comments made toward the master plan. However, I don't think all of the master plan was explained to everyone. I encourage residents to, and this is the master plan. This is the master plan that took 2 years for the commission, the group that's pretty much together right now, along with David Radacci from Lake County. It took us 2 years to put that together. There were public portions at every meeting. There were 3 hearings that talked about everything that was being planned in here. And a lot of what's going on with the Classic right now was addressed in the master plan. And it specifically talked about, this is section 5.2 for the residents who are listening and watching, economic development policies. And I'd like to read a section. It says, economic development, which involves attracting new high-quality, non-residential development to Willoughby Hills and supporting and enabling the expansion and or redevelopment of existing businesses in our city. It is necessary to increase the tax base and minimize the future tax burden on residential property owners. So basically, we have to be creative and think of ways to deal with the onslaught of expenses that are going to be coming our way in the future. It's unrealistic to think, oh, we can just increase taxes or put levies on the ballot. That never solves the problem. We have to use the things in our city that we have to be creative and find more opportunities for revenue. And so I just ask the residents to read the master plan, read the entire master plan and not sections of it, and try to get a full understanding of what the intent was. And I think if you still feel the way you do, I respect that, but be informed totally on everything that it's about and everything that it entails. Then there was just a continuing working session. Some of the questions came up. Some of the questions that the residents had were answered by the gentlemen who were representing Classic here. And it's just a continuing opportunity to learn more. There were some concerns raised. We're hoping that they bring back some solutions to some of those questions. So it's ongoing and continuing. And again, we talked about the master plan when it, when it was in motion. We talked about it afterwards. We've talked about it at district meetings. We've talked about it up here. We've talked about it several times. There's been several opportunities to understand what it's about and what's going on. So I don't want the residents to think that anything was done behind their backs or not in open session. It was. So I just ask everybody to read it and understand it, and then come to us with your questions and concerns. So it's an ongoing process. So hopefully we can, still gather more information and answer some of the residents' questions and keep the process moving. And that is it. And I stand for questions.
Mr. President,
Councilman Jarmuscavich.
were there any concerns addressed about traffic in and out of there onto 91 being such a main route? I know there's a light right by the entrance to Classic and the clinic, but this will be down a block or a couple hundred yards. Will they have to have a separate light there then, or?
No, it's going to be as soon as you pull out of the where the light is. There's a light that is at the clinic and in Classic. So as soon as you pull out of that driveway and go to your left, that building or that driveway would be right there. So they would pull out, turn left, and then go into the driveway, taking them to the building.
Is that something that the clinic has to be on board with? Because that's their property, isn't it?
No, they're not going on clinic property.
Oh.
So this is 91. So if you could just picture that area where 91 it kind of intersects where the clinic is and where Classic is. So if the Classic folks are coming out of that of their property and make a left, the property is right. It's just right there. They don't have to go down at all to get to where they're needing to go to.
I thought it was across the street.
It is across the street. So they're going to have to cross the street, cross 91,
Okay.
make a left turn, and then the property the where they're going is right there. I mean, it's within a few yards.
Coming out the other way, though, coming from there to the Classic, though.
Council President, may I try something?
Mayor?
Because it is kind of confusing, and you're doing a
Okay.
good job.
I'm trying.
Let me try to.
Okay.
So first of all, this facility, if you've ever seen a truck dropping off cars in the middle of
In the middle of the
91,
road, yeah.
this will eliminate that, because those trucks will now pull into that detail center, pull around it, and drop all the vehicles off at that location. So that location is not a sales a place where people are going to be pulling in and looking at cars. It's strictly going to be there to drop off cars, get them detailed. It's going to be their internet sales office will be taking pictures of all the cars to get them online, and then as they're ready to be moved over, they'll just be driven across the street to the lot. So that's really the only use of that facility. It's not a customer front.
It won't be a
center.
constant flow of traffic in and out.
No.
All right, any other reports? Okay, we'll move on then.
I'm sorry, Mr. President.
Councilman Jarmuscavich.
I just wanted to bring up Dave Walters from the Rec Commission. Wanted to get together with the mayor, myself, or whoever else wanted to take a look at where the disc golf would go into the back by Campbell. He suggested around 3 o'clock, which is pretty much impossible for me, but I don't know if anybody else could make an arrangement with them to look at it and see what they think about it.
Yeah, I was just kind of waiting on him to give me a time, a day
We
and
said
time.
3 o'clock on a weeknight, just
Yeah.
was the last email I saw.
Okay, yeah.
Well, I'll join in on that. I would like to walk it with him, but I think we need 2, 3 people from the city to be involved.
Okay.
All right, if we don't have any other boards, commissions, committees, do we have any unfinished business this evening?
Council President,
Council Vice President.
would like updates on the flooding and updates on the cell tower from Mr. Mayor, please.
Sure. So I did talk to Mayor Brunello from Highland Heights. They're on board now too. So now I just need to get a hold of Mayor Kim from Richmond Heights and get her on board, and then hopefully we can create our little coalition and start talking to the state senator and representative to try to move this forward. So that's that.
And I'm sorry, could you name the mayors, please, who are involved?
Yes, it's Mayor Bodnar from Mayfield Village, Mayor Brunello from Highland Heights, and I'm drawing a blank on Kim's last name at the moment. Thank you. Mayor Scott from Richmond Heights.
Okay.
And then as far as cell tower, no new news at this point. I know the last I heard, they were going to try and push it down the route of the first, what is it called? The first responders. It's the first responders.
Is that first net?
First Net, thank you. I couldn't think, I was like, first something or other. Yeah, First Net, they were trying to push it through First Net to see if they had the funding to put to do a cell tower that would service the valley, the Chagrin Valley area. And they've not gotten back to me, although I don't expect them to be very quick about that. So unfortunately, no new news, but it's kind of out of our hands until they push it through on their side. Yeah.
Okay, we'll move on then. First up, we have the consent agenda. What we have on it this evening, we have the disposition of the journals, the May 28th, 2026 regular council meeting minutes, approval on that, and also approval of the May 28th, 2026 Working Committee of Council and Rules and Legislation minutes. Also, ordinance 2026-037. Council Clerk, would you please read the caption?
An ordinance to declare 6 police speed lasers as surplus property pursuant to Article 6 legislation, Section 6.01 General Ordinances, subsection E of the Charter of the City of Willoughby Hills, and declaring an emergency.
And the chair will accept a motion to pass the consent.
Council President,
Councilwoman Miller.
motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second that.
We have a motion from Councilwoman Miller, second from Council Vice President Taylor Draper to approve the consent agenda. Council Clerk, please take the roll call.
Councilman Connect?
Yes.
Councilwoman Miller?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sebo?
Yes.
Council Vice President Taylor Draper?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bellich?
Yes.
Councilman Jarmuscavage?
Abstain.
Council President Klein?
Yes. Consent has been passed. Moving on to legislation. First up, we have ordinance 2026-036 on third reading. Council Clerk, please read the caption.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to sign any and all necessary documents to secure the purchase of a ballistic armored tactical transport armored rescue vehicle for the City Police Department from Armored Group 5221 North Saddle Rock Drive, Phoenix, Arizona 85018 for the estimated purchase price of $381,140 and declaring an emergency.
And what is the desire of council?
Council President, can I ask a question, please?
Council Vice President.
I just want to make sure, so it is the state that sets the parameters by which we could use the money, correct? We have nothing to do with that?
That is correct.
It would be important, I believe, because I understand what Councilwoman Miller is saying, to be able to use the funds in a way where the schools could enhance their security with security doors, security windows, better cameras. And I think that, that's something that hopefully that they will change, because I think that the schools really need these things. In addition to a truck like this, I think if we're being preventative, we can, have doors that are secure and windows that are secure where the assailant can't get in. So unfortunately, that's not what we're dealing with right now, but I wish they would consider that.
All right, I will make the motion to adopt ordinance 2026-036 on third reading.
Second.
We have a motion from Council President Klein, second from Councilman Connect, to adopt ordinance 2026-036. Is there any discussion?
Council President,
Councilwoman Miller.
I just want to say my vote tonight does not reflect my commitment to school safety or the work of our police department.
Council Clerk, please take the roll call.
Councilman Connect?
Yes.
Councilwoman Miller?
No.
Councilwoman Sevo?
Yes.
Council Vice President Taylor Draper?
No.
Councilwoman Bellich?
Yes.
Councilman Jarmus-Gavage?
Yes.
Council President Klein?
Yes. Ordinance 2026-036 has been adopted. Next is Resolution 2026-010 on second reading. Council Clerk, please read the caption.
A resolution adopting a tax budget for the fiscal year 2027 for the city of Willoughby Hills.
And this resolution will remain on second reading. Moving on, we have new business. Does anyone have new business this evening?
Council President?
Council Vice
I don't
President.
know if it's new or old, but I just wanted to make council aware that the hearing last week for Classic, we got a lot of feedback about the actual hearing notice. If you guys recall, we instituted the big yellow sign as a resident notification ability, so that people will know that there's something going on in their neighborhoods. And I received a lot of feedback that people couldn't read it. And I don't know how many of you went past it, but it was very far from the road. I think facing the wrong place on the road, and you really couldn't read it. And the residents had mentioned that they didn't know what the sign was about. And I know we've done a lot of promotion and education, trying to let people know when you see the big yellow sign, that means something's going on in your neighborhood. But when it actually comes about, I think it could use some more conversation. Maybe we need to use less words, because some of the residents mentioned there were too many words to read as I'm driving by. And so maybe, now that we're using it and can see some of the advantages and disadvantages, perhaps we could, update it and maybe change it a little bit. Again, nothing is 100%. You're not going to please everybody. You're not going to be able to inform everybody. But if it's our attempt to get the residents to be notified that something is going on, it needs to be easier for them than harder. And I agree. And I rode past there several times, and you couldn't read it. You couldn't, if I didn't know what it was, you couldn't read the sign. So I just would hope, later that we can re-examine it and maybe, find ways to make it better and clearer for the residents to understand what's going on there.
Mr. President,
Councilman Jarmus-Gavage.
I agree. I drove by that sign probably 2 or 3 times and didn't even notice it because it was so far off the road.
Yeah.
And then when someone mentioned it, what it was, I tried to read it 2 or 3 times driving down, but it's 40 miles an hour, and there's
Yeah.
cars on both sides. You're trying to look
Right.
over real quick.
Yeah, it's difficult.
You can't really pull over to stop and look at it.
Right.
Council President,
Councilwoman Miller.
I'd kind of like to make a suggestion that maybe our council clerk work with our communication director to make sure that these different notices, they're posted, in the News Herald, they're posted various places, but maybe we can get them posted on the social media where a lot of people seem to get their information from these days, and to be able to have those out there, especially for like particular hearings and things like that are going on, something maybe special of, significance to many people.
Council President,
Mr. Scott?
not that I disagree with Councilwoman Taylor Draper, but we received quite a few calls in my office. We're the main line. Many people calling and asking about the sign and what it said, because they voiced the same frustration. But the sign is doing what it's intended to. It's generating interest, and they're calling. So
Ultimately, yes.
I just wanted to pass that along.
Yes. Thank you, I agree.
All right, we'll move then to our second public portion, an opportunity for the public to address council with any comments, issues, or concerns. We will open this second public portion at 7:36 p.m.
I'm Tonda De Placido. I live on 2910 Istra Lane. I have not been involved with the council in a long time, but I was part of the original noise abatement committee way back when. Imagine my surprise when I came home from vacation and our cul-de-sac was completely, all of our flowers, everything in that cul-de-sac had been taken out. And we have a tree there now, and we have grass. And so far, all we've been told is every cul-de-sac in the city is having this happen. Well, I went over on Lamplight. Guess what? That is still beautiful over there. I have the original plans that were approved back in 2004, paid for by taxpayer dollars, to put this beautiful, beautiful perennial garden into our cul-de-sac. I want to understand why and who approved that. It also had a memorial garden in there for one of our beloved people on our street. So who did this? I am very curious and, of course, very upset. So a couple things. Either all the cul-de-sacs in the city are going to go to grass and a tree, or we need this addressed back on our cul-de-sac. There was no reason to take it out. A couple of us had made calls to the city to ask that the weeding that they do every year be done, and ask for mulch that we've been asking for the last 3 years. We did not get any. What we got was a mowed down perennial garden. But there is mulch over on Lamplight. So I'm asking you, what the heck happened?
Thank you. Anyone else for public portion?
I'm Anna. I'm also from Istra Lane. I live near the cul-de-sac, and I want to start off
I'm sorry, would
Yes.
you please state your name?
Anna.
Oh,
Anna from Istra Lane.
have a last name?
Ikaveta. I want to start off that saying I took 2901. I took a good portion of my evening to be here tonight to speak as a resident of Willoughby Hills, and I'm disgusted that our mayor left halfway through to not listen to his own residents. He is voted in by the residents, and he cannot even stay the entire meeting to listen to what we have to say. And I find that atrocious. And everybody here and everybody sitting behind me should find that atrocious as well. So I live in Istra Lane. We've had this cul-de-sac. It's been beautiful. We've had multiple trees, shrubbery. They have cleaned it up over the years, slowly but surely. Like Ms. Tonda said, that we called, first of all, in the fall, we asked for a little cleanup because there were some dead shrubs. They cleaned up and they took out an entire tree that was perfectly healthy. They took out the entire shrubs, even though just a few portions of it were unhealthy, and left very little. They left a mess. They left twigs. Just the whole thing was a mess. We decided as residents we're going to wait until the spring because the winter was upon us. The spring came, we called. They said we were on the list. We waited a little longer. 6 weeks later, we called again. And I spoke to the service director myself, and he said, yes, I assure you're on the list for end of June. And just so you know, we're getting rid of all the cul-de-sacs. But don't tell your neighbors, was the quote, because we don't want to hear it. And I was very shocked, because I had never heard this information before. Then by the end of May, we were out of town as well. We come home, the whole thing is gone. I asked the main gentleman who was in charge of it, I said, what's going on? And he, again, quote, said, we were here originally to spray weeds and put down mulch. And I don't know what happened, ma'am. And everything is gone. They planted grass seed, put hay on it, and returned one time to water it, once, in our knowledge. The hay is fine all around, there's big gaps, and it's atrocious. So I hope something can be done about this, if we can replant or if they can take better care. I'm not sure why they would choose to plant grass, which is more higher maintenance, because they have to return every week in the summer and spring to mow it. All we asked was mulch. All we asked was mulch. So we're very disappointed, and we hope this could be remedied. The other thing to think about is when they plow the streets, they've already, with their plow, cracked the edging of the garden bed or whatever. So I'm only thinking, what's going to happen to that grass in the wintertime? That's going to be shoved forward, and they're going to have to plant new grass. But if you're going to plant the grass, take care of it. And they have not done so.
Is there anyone else for public portion?
I am Johnny Acabetta, and dear the mayor and council,
I'm sorry, would you please state your home address?
Oh yes, my name is Johnny Acabetta, and I'm from Ister Lane, and my address is 2901. Dear the mayor and council of Willoughby Hills, I live near the cul-de-sac. I'm very, very sad because no such of the cul-de-sac has been destroyed by our city without even telling the neighbors. I'm feeling very embarrassed because we have new neighbors up the street. They have to see this big, giant, huge circle of dirt with one tree coming out of it. What happened to the other trees? What happened to the bushes? What happened to the flowers? No one tells us anything at all. We neighbors wanted all the space to be cleaned up and look nice. Now we have nothing, absolutely nothing. At this time, I want to thank Miss Tanya for listening to us, and we hope she can help solve this big, ugly problem on our street.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hi, Ken. So sorry, I have to wear my sunglasses. I got my eyes injured a little bit, so I need to protect my eyes. So this is Fangzhou from 2900 East Shore Line. And as you guys can see from the numbers, we are neighbors, right? We used to have a very beautiful garden at the cul-de-sac, and that's the reason that why we're here today. The whole garden was wiped out except one tree standing there about like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Right now, we used to have a lot of like bushes, grasses, flowers, whatever, all kinds of plants, and that was beautiful. Now we only have one tree and haze on top of the seeds. As you guys can see that this is really hot outside recently, and this only be watered once, so I guess most of the seeds are already dead right now. So we are here not only for the explanation, because first, we are not notified. We have no idea why that was wiped out first. Second, we don't want just hear the explanation. We want some actionable items. We want a timeline. We want some explicit promise from you guys to bring back the beautiful things and all those stuff to our community, especially as you guys can see, there are a lot of trauma has already been done to our residents here. So we want to bring our garden back, either grasses or other plants. We want a solution, basically. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for public portion?
Jen Vero, 2890 SOM. In conversation that Tanya brought up in reference to the Planning and Zoning, I would like to thank the Planning and Zoning Commission for last week's town hall meeting regarding the classic proposal for a detail shop on Som Center Road. I believe the commission did an excellent job facilitating the meeting, listening to residents, and providing an opportunity for everyone to share their thoughts and concerns. I was particularly interested in the comments made by Mr. Lilich regarding the possibility of the city acquiring a buffer area similar to the amount of land it currently owns on the east side of Classic that is currently there. Such a buffer could provide the city with greater control over future development and help prevent aggressive commercial expansion from gradually moving farther south along Som Center Road into residential areas. I too am disappointed that the mayor left. I had a couple questions. I was going to appreciate some clarification from the mayor regarding the comments he made about a proposed cell tower that was discussed for this property. It was mentioned that it would be located towards the rear of the property if the project is approved. Would the property on which the tower is located be owned by the city, by Classic, or by the cell tower provider? Additionally, how would ownership, maintenance, and any associated lease agreements be handled? And then finally, I don't know if Pete could offer clarification, but in changing to zoning E, this proposal, again, has a disturbing amount of parking spaces, 288, and the design, based on the building size, basically stated 25 spaces, which would tell you that it's going to become a storage lot. And I'm not opposed to something going in there to help income in our city. However, it's exorbitant, the number of parking spaces, and it is going to become a storage lot. Is that permitted in zoning E? And again, why can't they build it and leave some of the trees and the beauty of Willoughby Hills in that area and make it a little more appealing if it's simply and truthfully going to be a detail shop? Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for public portion?
This is Shu, I'm from Australian and 2900, and I'm also for the Caldwell SAC, and I don't think from the economic side it's better than the bushes and like the flowers we have, because we all know that for the grasses we need to watering, we need to mowing, and we need to clearing the weeds, but with the bushes and other things, it's much more easier to take care of, and I think like from the economic side, we'd better to bring everything back. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, we'll close this public portion at 7:48 p.m. And would anyone on the dais like to respond to anything said during this public portion?
Council President.
Mr. Scott.
The mayor apologized and excused himself because he had a family emergency. That's why he left.
Mr. President,
Councilman Jeremy Scavage.
do we know who made the decision to remove those cul-de-sacs or gardens, or when these decisions were made? Or why they were made?
Council President.
Council Vice President.
Thank you guys for coming here tonight, and I know how you guys feel about your property, so I respect your being here tonight. I know that the mayor, I don't believe was aware. I've spoken with him twice today about it, and he will be talking to Mark tomorrow to find out more about what happened. So we're on it, okay?
Council President,
Councilwoman Miller.
I would just like to thank everybody for coming out and speaking on that. And it's just like Johnny said, it saddened me to hear this. Appreciate him coming forward as well. So it was news to me. I mean, the first time I heard this happened was when you guys just spoke. So I'm very sad to hear that. And we're on it, and we'll find out what happened, and we'll see what we can do going forward. Thank you.
Mr. President?
Mr. DeFranco.
Yeah, regarding the Classic project, parking is a permitted accessory use, and our code doesn't limit the number of parking spaces they can have. However, that is something that Planning Commission could try to reduce. And also, one of my recommendations to Planning Commission, and when it comes to council, is that they place a condition on any approval that the property cannot be converted or used as a car sales lot. Thank you.
Anyone else have a response? All right. We will then move on for the good of the order, for the good of the community. Does anyone have anything this evening?
Council President.
Councilwoman Miller.
I just want to mention that the repaving of River Road is getting underway. And I would just like to encourage residents, if you do not have to drive that stretch, to go other ways. I know there's many residents that do need to access that from certain roads that come off of it, but there are many other alternative ways to go to avoid that because it does slow down the workers a little bit, and just to be patient. Also, please do not drive the wrong way. I've heard, on numerous occasions that people have been seen going the wrong way. I know that the police have caught several people that are doing that, and just to please try to be patient during that time. I know that that's my major route back and forth to work that way, but I am doing alternative and maybe a little bit longer route to do that.
Anyone else have anything? I have a couple things. Today is National German Chocolate Cake Day. Tomorrow is National Movie Night. So it's good to combine both those together. Saturday is National Kitchen Klutzes of America Day. And I think I'm the president of this group. And finally, Sunday is National Bourbon Day, and I'll drink to that. My final comment, in my ever-attempting attempt to embarrass as many people as I can, I would like to wish a belated birthday to our city engineer, Pete DeFranco. I mean, come on, it's not every day that you turn 25, 30.
Thank you.
And with that, the chair will accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilwoman Bellish, second from Councilwoman Miller to adjourn this evening's meeting. Council Clerk, please take the roll call.
Councilman Connect?
Yes.
Councilwoman Miller?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sebo?
Yes.
Council Vice President Taylor Draper?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bellich?
Yes.
Councilman Jarmus-Gavage?
Yes.
Council President Klein?
Yes. Regular meeting of council for June 11th, 2026 is adjourned at 7:52 p.m. Thank you for coming.
Yes.